boy, is this topic one of the most important topics to me. Like, it's what we're going to be talking about today is probably the main engine, the main driving force behind my life decisions, the way I spend my time, and is probably the reason why I transformed the way I've done. Okay? So I wanted to talk about what fear of death and depression taught me about living. I view depression, and this could be a bit controversial, I know this, but bear with me. I view depression as a form of a kind of a gift, okay? It's kind of like a warning signal going off on the dashboard in our car, telling us to change the oil, okay? So I'll get back into that a bit further into this conversation. But first I wanted to share the main reason why I wanted to do this conversation. I was on a call with a client that I've recently taken on. I'm mentoring her in starting her own business. So I'm helping her to build her business by attracting her ideal clients, you could say. And just the other day, she had a conversation with her first client. She managed to sign this client, starting a relationship with her, and this was her exact words. She said to me, like, Adam, I'm so happy this is happening, because, like, if I were to die today, I'd die happy. I die happy because I know that I've lived a day on purpose. That was her words. Like, that's the way she expressed it. She felt like she's finally come home. She's finally stepped into her purpose of being a coach, of helping people, serving people, creating and making an impact in the world. And that really reminded me about my own journey. I grew up crazy afraid of dying. Like, so crazy. There's so many instances, so many situations where I used to be kind of a hypochondriac. I probably had all diseases or illnesses known to man, at least in my own head. Physically, I was perfectly healthy, right? But I used to have them all. Like, my friends used to make fun of me coming up with weird stuff like chaotic or catastrophic events. Tornadoes hitting Sweden in the shape of a sausage, and it was called Scan, which is a really famous meat packaging industry, brand company, whatever. And, you know, I'd buy into that. I'd be so afraid of this sausage-shaped tornado who was going to wipe out the whole of south of Sweden or whatever, right? And this is just one of many examples of how afraid I was of dying. This stayed with me all the way up till I was probably around 30 years old. And I can't say the exact date when it all changed, but I do remember when I sort of understood it left, the fear of dying. Around 2008, 2009, I got a bit depressed. One of the big reasons behind that was that I felt I did not live life on my own terms. I was people pleasing. I was saying yes to everybody else, but no to myself. And that was taking me down a path I didn't want to go. I felt energy drained. I didn't feel passionate. I didn't feel alive. I didn't feel like I was enjoying life. And I felt depressed. I couldn't get out of bed. But slowly and surely, I started realigning what was important to me. I started showing up, prioritizing those things and making them happen more and more in my life. That sort of helped me get through the depression. And what that taught me was that depression wasn't an illness to me. It was actually an invitation for me to step into my purpose, my calling. And well, at least if nothing else, it was just an invitation to say, like, hey, Adam, the way you've been living life is not taking you closer to what you want, right? If anything, it was just a big smack in my head saying like, Adam, wake up. This is not going the way you want it to go. And this is a great opportunity to turn things around. So reevaluate where you are, where you're wanting to go. And let's get that. Let's go for that. That's what the depression meant to me. Now, on that journey, I started self-improvement, self-development. I started losing weight. I started exercising, eating better, taking care of myself. I started minding my mind. Right? I was starting to view my mind as a beautiful garden, not allowing the weeds to sort of grow and spread inside this beautiful garden. So many, many different things I did. At one point, I noticed in my life that my fear of death was gone. And I cannot attribute any other thing than the fact that I realized I wasn't afraid of dying. I was simply afraid that I haven't lived life yet. It wasn't that I was afraid to die. I was simply afraid that I didn't live. That I hadn't gotten to live life the way I wanted to. And when the fear of death disappeared, it was only because I stepped into my calling. I started spending days doing the things that made sense to me, that were important to me, brought meaning, passion and purpose to my life, right? And when I started doing that, like almost from day one, or, you know, after a couple of months, the fear was completely gone. Because now I was actually deliberately spending time doing the things I love, doing the things that matter to me and people. So what I want this conversation to be about is that, you know, I'm inviting you to rediscover, reconnect with your calling, your purpose. Because if there's a disconnect, if there's a distance there, I dare to say that you might be going through some form of fear, some form of sadness, disappointment, anger, frustration, and maybe even depression, anxiety. And if you are, just re-examine that. Like, just go back, as I've been sharing right now, go back and view things from your past, look at your life, the present way of showing up in life. Is it really aligning with what's most important to you? Because if it's not, all it is just this big invitation showing you a way to get back to it. If you don't know your purpose, if you don't know what's your true calling, well, try to remember times that passed and see where you showed up feeling like things were just clicking. It just felt great while you were doing it. What was it when you spent time with people in specific situations, doing specific activities? Doesn't matter. Try to look for the red thread, finding clues that will help you figure out what your calling is, what your purpose is. There's a great study done called the Blue Zones, where they looked for the oldest people on the planet, where we have most of them, and they tried to see if there was a correlation. And they did. They found this Okinawa, the island outside of Japan. We had the most centenarians on that island, meaning people who lived to be 100 and above. We had the biggest density of people living there, reaching the age of 100. They started researching this group of people because they wanted to see if there is a correlation, if they can replicate the results. And they found, I can't remember if it was 9 or 12 factors to their long life, but 3 factors played the biggest role in these people's lives. One was their daily activity. The second was what they ate. But the third one And that surprised a lot of people, and still does. The third factor for their long life was what was their called ikigai. And in Japanese that means, it can translate into purpose. Everybody on that island, they have a word for their purpose. They wake up in the morning and they know why they're put on this earth to do. They wake up every morning knowing what they're about to achieve, why they get up in the morning. They have this driving force, this drive, from the inside. It's their ikigai. This has been proven in many, many other instances as well. There's a fantastic book, Man's Search of Meaning, by Viktor Frankl. This Holocaust survivor, not just from one camp, but from two camps. How he explains that a person with a strong enough why can bear any how. Meaning that if we're connected to our purpose, we can withstand any outer circumstance as long as it's powerful enough, strong enough. So, go back, reconnect with your calling. And this is just an invitation for that. Again, I'm reminding you of my own personal journey to get away from that fear of dying, because I started living, right? We're so afraid of dying, and yet we're not living. So that's my invitation. Remember the conversation I started with this client. She had gone like a day or two with this new client, signing her first client, and she said to me, if I die today, I die happy, because now I've lived moments, I've lived days or minutes or hours in my purpose. That's how valuable that is. That's it. That's all I want for you. So if this is interesting to you, if this is helpful, if you need more support around, reconnecting with your calling, I put together this brand new Facebook group where I'm inviting people in to be part of this conversation and many, many, many others. Sometimes I'll be launching some mini trainings to help deepen the understanding and the learning around these topics. If you're interested in that, you can join the Facebook group. It's a growing community, so don't be surprised if we're only a few people in there at the moment. And somewhere around this post, you'll find a link where you can enter that group and you can be part of that, where you can ask questions and interact and be part of these things that I'm sharing. Cool. So I'm seeing Michaela, one of my oldest childhood friends, Kelly, my old teacher from the OBM Leadership Academy. That's really cool. I got probably someone else there. I can't really tell who's online. But thank you so much for watching. It was it's nice of you to see. It's nice to see you online here. I hope to see you on the other side in the Facebook group. So look for the link, join the group, and I'll be talking to you shortly. All right, wishing you a fantastic day. Take care. Cheers.